It's build time. It's about time. It's been a while since I've had a bit of a build, and it's been a while since I've put a video on the channel. So I bought myself a what do you call it? An F550 Hexacopter from Banggood. It's just a kit. Comes with nothing. It's just the frame, and we'll probably even run a flight controller on it with GPS. Get it flying good and do a bit of experimenting with it and hopefully learn a bit along the way. So let's go on to, we'll mount some motors and go from there. These motors I've got are Phantom 3 motors. So basically I've just got to work out which motor goes where here for this, so that the motors, when they turn, aren't loosening the props, they're tightening the props. So that's pretty crucial. So my counterclockwise motors have a silver nut on the top, and the clockwise have a black. So we'll go a black one on this. One problem I have noticed with these is the screws aren't long enough that come with these motors, so I may need to order more screws. I'm just using the screws that came with the F550 kit. But we'll get to that. It's going to be a little process to build this one, but hopefully it'll provide a bit of rewarding flight. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Now there is no, usually you get a metal plate here. I haven't got a metal plate with these motors, so I'm not sure whether that's, I don't know how crucial that's going to be. Hopefully not too crucial. Okay, everything I'm tightening here is just snug. They will be tightened a bit further and Loctite in the finished product. So that's our motors all done. ESCs, I need to find some connectors to match these. I'm not sure what size they are off the top of my head. 2.5mm maybe. But I need to get some connectors. So I need 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 connectors to solder onto the ends of the ESC. These wires here will solder directly to the power distribution board. They're 30 amp ESCs. The brand, I'm not too sure. They're just a cheap brand that I found. I come across. I got the 6 of them. I got the 6 of them for only 20 Australian dollars, so I can't complain with that. And a lot of people are saying that they're quite good. So I guess one thing we could do first is solder up all the connectors, get the ESCs mounted up under the arms, and then the wiring will take care of that as we go. So I've organised 18 female connectors. These are 3.5mm, I think they are. 3.5mm connectors, gold connectors for my ESCs, and I've got a XT60 plug for the battery cable. Never realised how the hexacopter with 6 arms, 6 ESC, 6 motors is a bit more wiring to do, a bit more soldering to do, and a bit more patience needed. But it's getting there, and it's good. That's the key, to take your time to do these sort of things. Don't rush them, or else you'll make mistakes that you'll regret later on. So this is the last one. I've just finished all the arms now. The ESCs have their bullet connectors on it. I'm only just connecting this up temporarily. That at the moment is just connecting things up, just so I can get a gauge on where I'm going to position it on the arm and how my loose wiring is. It's going to fit in kind of like that, which I'll probably just cable tie or run some tape around. I think I'll just cable tie it. So they're all done now. I've got the 6 ESCs all connected up now to the motors on the arms. So what we'll do next is we'll do our power lead, I think, if I can find some cable. I'm not sure if I've got the cable at the moment, but I'll connect up this to the cable, and what we might even do is solder the power lead onto the power distribution board. Then the next step after that, I'll end up disconnecting these again, just because it's easier, and solder the power side of the ESC to the positive and negative on the power distribution board. Alright, so that's the power cord put on. I'm not real happy about these joints just at the moment, so I'm going to redo them. But that's basically the power cable now. Right, so I've got the first ESC soldered to the power distribution board. You've got some big solder pads on this power distribution board, so a good way of doing your, if you've got a lot of thick wiring and that, and you've got a big board, what you need to do is spread out your wires, flatten it out and spread them out, spray it out like a fan, and you'll find it'll solder on a lot better. So that's the ESCs now all soldered up to the main board. So we've got our power there, we've got our 6 ESCs, so what we'll do now is bolt the legs on, hook the motors up again, and connect the frame up. Alright, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4 bags of screws that comes with this kit. Now for the legs, you want these littler ones here. They're 8mm by 2.5 it says. Now I've just put these 2 arms on. I'm going to colour orientate it where I've got the white at the back, black in the middle, and red arms up the front. So that's all bolted up now. The bottom frame's bolted up. I've got the legs on now, so that's all good. I'm just going to hook these motors up. The only thing I'm going to do is make sure I've got the blue wire on this motor here, which is the middle wire, hooked to the middle wire in my ESC, which is the green one. These other 2 won't matter until we get it hooked up onto the flight controller, and if a motor's spinning the wrong way, we just swap the red and the yellow around. So that's basically it without its props on at the moment. I might stick them on and show you what it looks like with it on. I'll give you a run through of the components that I'm going to be putting into this now. We'll start with, I've got down here, it's a power module that's that's where the battery's going to be plugged into. It's going to give me also telemetry for the battery to see what voltage the craft has left. Well, that's a telemetry module. So I've got with it a 915 megahertz telemetry modules. One of them plugs into the laptop while you're running Mission Planner, so you can see the data coming from the craft while it's flying. So there's a GPS module, an M8N GPS. I've got a mini OSD, sorry, which will put up telemetry data onto my goggles while I'm flying through the camera. And we've got the Pixhawk here. This one here is a 2.4.8, so it's still a good unit. So the plan is we will install this, then we'll install Mission Planner on the Pixhawk.
Pre-on, battery 1 below minimum arming voltage.
So guys, I've got the GPS module hooked in here. I'm just sitting on the concrete, but
Pre-on, throttle
I've calibrated. Let me just turn this down. I've calibrated the Pixhawk, and I've done a compass calibration on the GPS and the compass. So it's just sitting out here at the moment. I've got it plugged into the laptop and it's picking up 10-11 satellites at the moment, so we know that's working. So I'm happy about that. So next step, what I want to do is the telemetry. I want to try and sort that out so we can do wireless telemetry for this. I don't need a USB cable then to connect to the laptop. It'll all be done wirelessly. Alright, so I've got my telemetry hooked in here. Telemetry module for the battery, that hooks into here. And we'll see what this telemetry can do now. I'll power it up and have a bit of a play around with it. The other end of the telemetry is here, hooked into the ground station or the laptop. We've got GPS working, Pixhawk's working, little buzzer's working. The switch here is working, which tells you when it's armed, and does a couple of other little things. Just got to get this working now, and then we can mount it into the Hexacopter. So a couple of little things have happened here. I've connected the Pixhawk. It's mounted on its soft mounts here and on its mounting plates. Connected up and it's running. Everything's good with that. I'm gonna stick the beeper down in this section here, so that'll just hot glue in there. Not sure about the switch yet. One awesome thing I have worked out is Express LRS, which I'm using some old modules, FR Sky modules, long range modules that I had them in my other two planes in the middle there, and since then I've exchanged the FR Sky modules because I couldn't flash Express LRS onto this receiver, and I had two of these spare. I got one there and another one there, and lo and behold, I've managed to do it. So it's funny how sometimes you can try and just things don't work. You need to have a break sometimes in this hobby, you know, and it can refresh your mind and things work. So I've got Express LRS now running on the R9 Slim, on both my R9 Slims, so I'm going to be using this now as a receiver, which is awesome. That's going to give it some good range if I choose to go far. So the next step is to create a cable. So these are the two plugs I'm going to be using. I've just got to solder it all together. The wiring side of things is a little bit more technical. I've had to go onto the Ardupilot website just to find out the best way to set up Express LRS on a Pixhawk. And you basically need to be running a minimum of firmware version 4.1, I think it said, or you can't do it. So this is running that, and I'm going to be connecting my receiver into serial UART 4.5 it's got here. So I'm going to use serial 4 UART 4 for my receivers, or for my receiver, sorry. So to set up Express LRS in Mission Planner, I've had to come over to the Express LRS Quick Start Guide here to set up ardupilot. It's like it says here, ardupilot firmware must be 4.1 or higher to run Crossfire protocol. We also need to go into the parameters, so you'll have to go into you'll need to go into the parameter tree in Mission Planner. Go into serial X _ protocol and change that to 23. That gives you the RC input, and RSSI type to 3. And it's basically saying another thing we have to do. We have to also go into in the parameter tree, the full tree you want to go into type RC _ options and turn on 9th bit, which is suppress crossfire mode rate message. That's so that you don't get pop-up warnings during the flight, apparently. So we'll see how that one goes. And that's pretty much it. It's got here, once you have set the parameters above, power cycle a flight controller by disconnecting and reconnecting your battery. ardupilot should automatically run with Express ELRS, but if it fails, set RC protocol 9th parameter bit to 1, which is crossfire option, and set the other parameter as below, which is just here. Ardupilot flight modes, it says here, Ardupilot default flight mode channel is channel 8, but Express ELRS channel 8 position is on channel 12, so you need to change that. So you have to again go into the full parameter tree and type in FLT mode underscore channel, or CH, and change that to 12, channel 12. It's just a matter of soldering my wires together and hooking it up and just seeing what happens. Okay, so with the R9 Slim, your wiring is situated as it's shown in the diagram there. You got the power on the very left, ground on the very right, and then the second and third from the right is your TX and RX. So pink being the RX, blue being the TX. Your RX has to go to flight controller's TX, and the TX has to go to the flight controller's RX. That's very important. And done. That's it.
Welcome to HTX.
Alright, that's all good. So we're connected up to our serial UART 4 on the Pixhawk. Fingers crossed. We'll plug a battery in and see what happens. I've got the transmitters on. It's running HTX, and let's plug in and see what happens. Well, that's a good sign. It seems to have picked it up. We've got a green light, solid green light and a solid red light on the R9 Slim. And I believe the Tyrannus is reading the telemetry too, by the look of that. Yes, it is. So that looks like it's all good. I'm going to connect into Mission Planner now. We'll load up onto the laptop here and have a look at the receiver tab, I think, and see what's moving in that. Alright, so we're connected up to Mission Planner here. Sorry, it's not too good to look at, but we're connected up. What we'll do, I'll take us into the Setup tab, Mandatory Hardware, and we'll go into done the compass, we're up to the radio calibration now, so let's have a look at that and see what that does. And you can see things moving. That is an awesome sign. That means we have radio. Throttle, yaw, left. It's reverse, so I'm going to have to change a few things. So pitch goes forward, back, right is reversed, left is reversed, and your right is reversed, and your left. So I've got to change the yaw and the roll. And let's just double check our buttons. So that's good. So what you do, you get your kill switch here. If it's flashing, you hold the button down and it'll turn solid. And the machine will make that noise. Then you come across here, and to arm, it's throttle down and yaw to the right. Everything seems to be going, except the motor's powered up straight away. I'll have to fix that. So that's about it. I'm going to take it up. I've got 2 batteries charged up, and plan is just to get it up, do a bit of a hover, see how it is. We'll stick it into position hold and check that out, see how it holds, and give it just a bit of a general little fly around on one battery. And then the second battery, I might look at doing an auto tune with it and testing the return to home function as well. So we'll plug her up and get her in the air before this wind picks up. They're expecting rain later today, so it's my only opportunity. I don't know if I'll do an auto tune or not, because the battery that I've got coming for this is a 7,500 milliamp battery. I'm only using 3,000 milliamp batteries and a 4,000 milliamp battery, so I think that will change, but we'll see how it gets up and see how it handles some position hold and return to home, etc. on a couple of batteries. See how it's generally flying, just straight from the end of the build.
Welcome to Edge TX.
So this is running the Express ELRS through my R9 unit on the back here. I've modified that. So we'll plug in. I've got everything set up here. We'll plug in with the Pixhawk. We've got to activate this start button. So you push and hold this. And you'll hear the change in tone. That lets you know it's ready to arm once you've got satellite. So I'll just wait for it to pick up some satellites. Hasn't picked up anything just yet. Okay, where we go now? 4 satellites. So I've got a bit of telemetry on my screen here, which I find is quite handy, especially if you lose your craft. You've got your GPS coordinates. You can hopefully find your craft again if there's an issue. 10 satellites, so we're ready to go. Fingers crossed. We'll put in stabilize first just to see how it hovers.
Altitude hold. Stabilize mode. Position hold. Stabilize mode. Auto tune.
Okay, so we'll just check everything here. Let's have a look. Red is the front of this craft too, by the way.
Minute. Position hold.
That's position hold there. It's a bit rocky at the moment because it needs a tune and we've got a bit of wind. Seems pretty good. What we might getting blown around a little bit here. I might just I'll stick it back into stable mode. Or might even look at doing a bit of an auto tune here before the wind really gets up. Bring it back here a little bit. It's a little bit twitchy. But I'd say that's a fairly successful start. Motors feel pretty good. Not warm at all. ESCs are the same. Battery seems pretty good too. Okay, we'll send her up again, this time with a bit of an auto tune on it.
Roger. Minutes.
I'm not sure what the auto tune actually did then. It felt like it was flying a little bit better after a few minutes, but I didn't notice. I thought auto tune with the APM and the Pixhawks on Mission Planner, you notice the craft maneuver itself a little bit left and right, back and forward for a while, but I didn't see that. So, but yeah, other than that, I'm pretty happy with the way it's going. Just need to get the next battery for it, the big main battery, which will give it a bit more flight time. And then we'll test what sort of flight times I get with the larger battery. It's going to be a 7,500 milliamp battery. And then we'll look at doing some FPV flying as well. A further tune as well, I think. But other than that, thanks guys. We're showing we've got 16 satellites. Battery's at 46% and time only 6 minutes, so there's not a huge amount of flight time with these batteries. Mind you, this battery's a fairly old battery, so hopefully the new battery picks that up, but we'll play around with all that side of it. Thanks guys for watching, and hope you enjoyed that. Stay tuned and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.